If there is one suggestion that I can make for all of you guys out there right now who are creating courses or thinking about creating courses or thinking about starting an agency and you're going to charge clients, anytime you plan on taking money from somebody else, there's one thing that I want you to remember, and that is do not shop with your own wallet. What's up guys, Travis Stephenson here, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about the 5 things that could be absolutely killing your chances of success. So the first thing that could be absolutely killing your chance of success, and I think it's probably the most important one and the one that happens to the most people, is having a mindset that something can't be done, or not being 100% invested in the idea that it can be done. The craziest thing to me is when somebody starts a project but doesn't actually believe that they're going to be able to do it. They're doing it because they were told by somebody else that it was a good idea, or they're doing it because their mom and dad said they should do it, or they're doing it because they see somebody else doing a really good job, but they're just not sure if it's right for them. And that's just crazy to me. It's nonsense, because if you go into a task and you don't fully believe that you can do it, you're almost guaranteed gonna fail. And this is actually something that came from a bit of a personal story of mine. Growing up, I played baseball and I was pretty good. And for the longest period of time, I thought I had a chance of playing kind of pro. But the biggest problem that I had was my lack of belief when I would go up to the plate to hit. And so I'd get up to the plate. In practice, I could hit everything. I was a very, very good hitter. But I got to the point where in pressure moments, I had the mindset of, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make this happen. And I would go up. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. But it ended up screwing me long term because I started to get pretty nervous after a while, and then it didn't happen for me. I couldn't perform in the clutch, and that basically killed the entire dream because I didn't have belief in myself that I was gonna be able to make it work. So the number one thing that you guys have to change, if you're noticing that you're failing or that you're trying different things and it's just not working, the number one thing to ask yourself is, do I genuinely believe that I'm gonna be able to do this? And if I don't, what do I have to do to impress upon myself that I can make this happen? Usually it's through education. So if you don't feel like you can do something that you're trying to do right now, go educate yourself a little bit more, and then come back, execute, trial and error, and you'll be able to figure it out. All right, guys, the second thing that could be stopping you from success is something that I call feeding the negative wolf. And this is pretty crazy. So I recently heard this little story and it really resonated with me. And that is, there's this boy, he's in the woods and he sees 2 wolves that are about to fight, and they're both big, powerful looking wolves. And the boy looks at his dad and he says, "Dad, I don't know which one of these wolves is gonna win this fight." And the dad says, "Whichever one you feed." And that is such a powerful, like little micro story, so to speak, of what we do in our daily lives. So often we are faced with decisions and we have to decide, is this a positive thing or a negative thing? We have to decide, did that happen to me or did that happen for me? And it's so easy. It is the easiest thing in the world to say that happened to me. I'm the victim. Look at me as like I need help. That's the easiest thing in the world to do, but it leaves you with the wrong mentality. The right mentality is, okay, this happened, now it's my responsibility to do something about it. It's my responsibility to change it. I believe it was Will Smith who actually had a really good quote that talked about blame versus responsibility. And in a lot of cases, people say, well, you can blame whoever you want. And Will Smith says, but it's your responsibility to change that. If your parents were alcoholics, you can blame them, but it's your responsibility to take action and to make something of yourself in light of those things happening to you. So I urge you guys, think about the times in your life when it's more stressful. Think about the times in your life when things are more difficult, and ask yourself, is this happening to me or is this happening for me? What good could be coming out of this? And even in times when you don't really know, like what exactly positive could come out of, a family member dying, not every situation is going to be explained by, oh, this is happening for me, right? But just understand that you can take a negative mindset or a positive mindset in your outlook after the fact. So whatever's happening right now, just realize that's going to happen. And there's an old saying that says when you're going through hell, keep going, right? So you just want to make sure that you have the right mindset. You don't want to continue to feed the negative wolf. Don't surround yourself with negative people. Don't surround yourself with negative thoughts. Don't let excuses become the reason that you don't achieve things. And I love the saying that you can either have excuses or you can have results, but you cannot have both. So a lot of times what happens is people take negative things that are happening in their life, that becomes an excuse, and that starts a pattern of more negative things happening in their life. So I urge you guys, remove those people and remove those things, or just turn them into positive experiences, and that'll drastically change your guys' chance of success. All right, guys, so the third thing that I think is stopping people from being able to generate success for themselves is they are looking for both fast and lasting results. Now, I've been online running my own business now for about 11, almost 12 years, and the one thing that I've learned is typically the results that you get the fastest or the quickest are the ones that don't last as long. And it's the same thing when you take crash diets, right? You might get a little bit of results in the beginning, but then those don't last for a long time because you didn't make lifestyle changes, right? So it's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in, maybe you're working for somebody who wants you to make some progress. And a lot of times what happens is we focus on the short-term result. We focus on this, what can I get done the fastest? And we think, oh, that's how I'm going to do everything is fast, but I also want it to last. And those things, they just don't happen. Usually they're kind of opposites. So if you want something to last for a long time, just remember it will also take you a good amount of time to get those results fast and lasting, or fast and lasting. That's kind of how it works. So just remember, even if you're getting results right now and it's happening pretty quickly, what are you doing to build the surface underneath that so that you're making progress and not just relying on momentum? That's a big question to ask yourself as you're achieving little results. What are we doing to be able to make progress? So think of it like a set of stairs. We want to get to the next step and never go back down. A lot of times we focus on the fast result getting us to the step, and then we allow it to take us back down because we didn't make good decisions on the core of what was going to drive that business. So remember, don't just focus on the fast results, focus on the lasting ones, and what can you do to drive both up at the same time? Usually you are going to sacrifice one for the other in the short term, but hopefully you'll be able to get both in the long term. All right, guys, so the fourth thing, and this is a really big one that stops a lot of people from creating success, especially in their online business, is shopping with your own wallet. If there is one suggestion that I can make for all of you guys out there right now who are creating courses or thinking about creating courses or thinking about starting an agency and you're going to charge clients, anytime you plan on taking money from somebody else, there's one thing that I want you to remember, and that is do not shop with your own wallet. And the reason I say that is because all the time I meet people who say, Travis, I would never pay, $1,000 for this thing, or Travis, I would never pay $50 for that, or why would anybody pay $80 for that? And the problem is you're making an assumption based on information that you have without realizing the people you're selling to don't have it. Let me give you an example. If I was to tell you how to start a digital agency, to me, that information isn't worth as much because I already have it, right? I take that information for granted now. So I wouldn't pay somebody for it because I already have that level of information. However, somebody who doesn't might be willing to pay for that information, and therefore I shouldn't be pricing it based on what I would pay. I should be pricing it based on what I think other people should pay. I see this happening all the time with somebody trying to sell, a used item in their house. Well, I have it, so the value is pretty low, whereas somebody else might think the value is really high. And a lot of times we don't realize we're sitting on a gold mine in our own house just because somebody else likely wants the thing that you are already taking for granted. So the idea here and the thing to remember is don't shop with your own wallet. If you're coming up with a price for something, don't do it based on what you would be willing to pay for it. Do it based on what you think the people who need it are willing to pay for it. All right, guys, the fifth and last thing that could be holding you back from generating the kind of success that you want is by trying to be a big solo bear instead of being a bear in a group of 10 that's half the size. So I learned this early on in my career, probably not early enough, and that is I was trying to do everything for my business. I was trying to be the big bear. I was trying to be the one that at the end of the day, I could say, I did everything on my own. I built my own offers. I did all of this. And there's a lot of times where I have done that. But the problem is you end up slowing yourself down and you end up creating a much weaker environment. So I want you guys to imagine a massive bear in the middle of a circle. And outside of that circle, there's 10 half the size bears, right? So significantly smaller bears. Which bear do you think makes it out? I bet you a lot of the little bears end up making it out, and that big bear can't really do much because he doesn't have anybody on his team. So you can be the biggest bear in the game, but if you don't have anybody on your side, it's not going to matter. And that's one of the reasons that at Wealth3 we focus on the sort of triangle of what's going to create wealth. One of those pillars is relationships. Not only relationships meaning like wife, spouse, children, family, that, but the relationships with your crew, the relationships with the people that you're having around you and with you on this journey for building a business. And that relationship can be professional, right? So I have somebody holding a camera right now because they're good at that, and that's a relationship, right? So I started relying on somebody else to help me with videos, and guess what? I can make more videos. I can produce better videos. And these are things that coming into my business, I just never really thought. I just thought I'll do it all on my own because that's what entrepreneurship is, right? We're just all creating on our own. But when I started building a team around me, everything got elevated. And it's that whole idea of a rising tide raises all ships. So as the stuff that I do gets better, the people around me also get better and everybody benefits. So I urge you guys, think about what kind of team you can create to create that image of 10 bears, instead of trying to be the one solo bear who does everything on their own. Hopefully you guys enjoyed these 5 tips. If you did, please make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe. Feel free to share this video with anybody who might need one of these 5 tips or maybe multiple of these 5 tips. And we'll be back with a lot more content for you guys, so make sure you subscribe. Thanks so much. See you soon.